audience to come on up and perfect, thank you. Pass around some of these flyers, so just take one and pass it on so that you have something to take with you if you want to learn more. My name is Anne-Marie Landesy. I have the really easy part. I'm really only going to just introduce Janet. She did all the hard work presenting the slides tonight, and she's done all the hard work getting this project off the ground. So, but I just want to start and introduce myself and say, so my name is Anne-Marie Landesy. I have a software development firm based here in Troy called Green Tree Technology. We do custom software development for hire. And we have always had a problem since we've been in business finding developers. So generally, we haven't had a tough time, finding work or getting projects, fun things to work on. We've been busy and very lucky with that aspect of our business. But one area where we've always struggled is finding talent. So we had one experience that kind of opened up my eyes to perhaps there's a better way to be developing talent. So we hired a person from four-year college, one of the local schools. He had a four-year computer science degree. He really actually struggled quite a bit in our job. He ended up moving on to, moved out of the area. At the same time, we had a recruiter came to us, and she said, I have this guy, he's taught himself Ruby on Rails, he's worked in the kitchen at Bombers, nonetheless, in Albany. He was in a punk band, he traveled the country, he loved doing music. He had a friend who was a developer, they always had cool conversations, so he thought he might like to code. So he quit his job at Bombers and taught himself to program Ruby on Rails in a couple months. So he's very junior, very inexperienced, didn't have a real solid foundation, but he at least had a pretty good sense of where he was going. So we said, yeah, we'll take him. We'll give him an apprenticeship, we'll give him an internship, and we'll see how he does. And he did really, really well. And he far surpassed the guy that had the four-year computer science degree. So that experience sort of said to me, you know what, there's a lot of people walking around the city of Troy that don't even know that they probably have the aptitude to be software developers. And there's a lot of jobs that are going unfilled all across the region, all across the state, all across the country. Around the world, they're doing a little bit better job than we are, so I can only say what's happening here in the U.S. But anyways, that's where the genesis of this started. And then I met this wonderful woman here named Janet Karmatsky, and she came from China. Flew in to Troy, and she and I have been working very closely together on the project. So let's get moving here. So here is Janet, without further ado. Thank you. Great.
I'm really excited to be here. See a lot of friendly faces. I see a lot of people who I hope will be my new friendly faces. We do have little brochures out in the audience, and you can read and see how much support we have in this community so far. Albany Can Code was established on June 9th as a not-for-profit. Here's the question we're asking: what is the value of a vibrant, talent-fueled software sector? I just wanted to throw out an image. If you had a talent-fueled software sector, every time you had a project or an idea, or a contract or an RFP that you wanted to bid out, you just reach out your hand, and whatever you needed, there it would be. You'd have your Android person, you'd have your UX person, you'd have your SQL genius, right? Does anyone think that that's how it is here right now? No, it's not. So we want to have a vibrant software sector where lots of talent, so we can all feel our ideas. It feels a little bit more like this, maybe, where we got an Apple and a BlackBerry, and that one BlackBerry who we're trying to hire is also being interviewed by 3 other people. So just to underscore the point that Rick made, this isn't a local issue, this is a national issue. The US is about 600,000 software developers short. In fact, in 2015, it's a typo, there's 209,000 H-1B visa applications were filed to basically import talent from countries who do a better job with workforce development and software than we do here in the United States. Google has 3,500 H-1B visa applications out. So if Microsoft has about the same number. So if Google and Microsoft, who really should have no problem attracting talent, we're sitting here in the capital region and we say, golly, we just can't get people to move up here. We can't get people to commit. If Google and Microsoft can't hire and they have to import people, you can rest assured this is a national problem. And no less than TechCrunch chimes into this conversation about the shortage and says we continue to perpetuate the idea that there's only one path to enter the software sector. We took a look at what is in place right now because we don't want to recreate the wheel. The standard response is we don't have enough developers, so let's start a code school. Good enough idea. That's good. Let's put more people through computer science programs. Okay, good idea. Let's have more recruiters. Let's have more jobs, all good ideas, but we line all this stuff up that's already in place, and we say, but how can this stuff, with everything that's going on, all the meetups, all the mentorship, all the jobs, there's probably 1,800 unfilled software jobs in the region right now. So why is everything that's already here not solving the problem? We have to take a look at, well, maybe there's an issue with diversity in the workplace. I don't know, it could be kind of subtle. But if half the population is not including themselves in the workforce, let's attack that, maybe. Also, we have 60% white, 23% Asian, Latino, and Black, and that's in contrast to the overall population distribution in the US. We can see that Asians are way overrepresented in the development profession. 23% of software developers are Asian, as opposed to 5.6% of the population. So I come from China. One of the things that Anne-Marie and I spoke about, I spent most of my career in China. I don't know what the software sector or any sector in the capital region was like 30 years ago, but in China, you name the sector, it didn't exist. It didn't exist. There's an entire nation on the other side of the planet that's pulled almost 400 million people out of poverty simply through an ecosystem approach to workforce development. So I thought, let's take an ecosystem approach to workforce development in the capital region. Let's see how it works. We don't know if it's going to work, but we think it's worth trying because it certainly worked in China. So we have basically three phases that we see when we look closely. I know I have 3 minutes, thank you. Do I have to talk faster now? Oh my god. Okay, so we took a closer look at how people turn into becoming software developers, and it's really the same progression that everybody takes to become expert in any field. There's a phase of exploratory learning, phase 1. There's a phase of formal education where you make a commitment and you dig really deep and rigorous and you immerse yourself in it. And then there's directed ongoing learning as you get your first job and you practice over your life. We looked at the disconnects. Why is this, what might be missing in the capital region in this three-phase thing? Well, here's all the disconnects. Everybody knows a lot of these. If they're in development, computer science graduates leave the area. Computer science curriculum doesn't teach you to code. We have our friends here from Start Fast Code in Syracuse. Their code school in Syracuse has students who have master's degree in computer science and undergraduate degrees in computer science, and they're still learning code because they didn't learn it. There's a lot of offshoring, onboarding entry levels hard, et cetera, but we just kind of looked at this basic issue that maybe locals are not considering careers in software. So the first thing that Albany Can Code is doing is opening up the funnel so that more people who are not the 92.8% male, not only, you can come into Albany Can Code if you're male. We're not saying you can't, but we wanted to look at who's not really including themselves in the conversation already and make sure that those people feel invited in, people who don't have college degrees. So we built this big funnel with public education recruitment. So we do some PR. We reach out to all kinds of people who might not otherwise be in. We do train-the-trainer classes so that developers can be trained to deliver warm-up curriculum. Local talent needs completion and polish. So we have mentorship programs. A big ask of all of you here tonight is come in and help us with, with a lot of the networking. We all know that there are not only skill barriers to this, people who don't have formal curriculum, but there are cultural barriers. It's one thing to be able to assemble code, be on the command line, and complete a dev challenge and build something that works, but it's another thing to be able to walk into a software company and fit into the culture, know how to work with people, know how to work with clients, know how to get it done and ship it. So we're asking people here tonight, if you believe in what we're doing, help us with the networking, because we're working on the formal curriculum by having employer alignment in the formal education part. We'd like to have a lot more networking to get through the social aspects of becoming a developer. And how are we doing this all? Essentially, there's a couple of us. Sarima Thomas is out there. Raise your hand, Sarima. Okay, there she is. She is on day 2 of her full-time job with Albany Can Code, handling mentorship and curriculum. So she's going to be delivering a lot of the curriculum. If you're one of our students in here tonight, you'll be spending a lot of time with her. And if you're one of our mentors in here tonight, we hope you'll be spending time with her because she's going to be taking dev challenges, code labs, and projects from your businesses into the classroom, which starts on October 10th, our first class. And pretty much that's how it works. We've got a stakeholder engagement model. That's how they do it in China. They don't have point-to-point conversations. They put everybody in a room. They pool the energy. They pool the resources. They bring everybody into a shared vision. So our shared vision is a much more vibrant and inclusive and expert software talent pipeline. If you're a beneficiary, something like that happening, we hope you'll join us. We've got little flyers. We need your mind. We need your energy. We need your help. That's all I have to say.